Hello, I'm Valerie Austin. I'm an author, journalist, and hypnotherapist. I'm the author of 7 books, including Self-Hypnosis Made Easy, which was out last year, and you can buy it from Amazon or in the bookshops. In the book, there is a terrific hypnotic suggestion called the orange liquid, which promotes the immune system and release of stress and negativity for anyone listening to this interview. You can get it free on my website, Immune Boost for You, which is the number 4.com. or my Facebook, Valerie Austin, HYP. Welcome to the Cutting Edge Medicine with Hal Blatman, MD. For the many who have chronic pain, whether it is migraine, low back pain, foot pain, or pelvic pain, since it is there, how do you figure out what really causing it and what has to happen to make it go away? The answers are not what we have been taught. Most of the time, it's not the disc, not a pinched nerve. And inflammation is not what we think. My guest today is Dr. Hal Blatman. Dr. Blatman is a board-certified practitioner of integrative and holistic medicine, completed 2 years of training in orthopedic surgery. He later studied ergonomics during his residency in occupational and environmental medicine for American Board of Integrative Holistic Medicine. Migraine, what is it?
You know, when I was in medical school, we were taught that migraine was a really, really bad headache, made you throw up, you took a migraine medicine, and it went away. And we've learned so much about migraine since then. And we make a differentiation between migraine headache, tension headache, TMJ headache, and cluster headache. And what I'd like to suggest is that that's artificial. We need that nomenclature, we need those changes, because if we're going to have 2 groups doing research on migraine headaches, those 2 groups have to have migraine defined and have to agree that they're both treating migraines. But beyond that, it really doesn't make a lot of difference. The causes for all these headaches, for the most part, are the same. So what causes it? Have you noticed that when you have a headache, the muscles in your upper shoulders and your neck and maybe your jaw are tight and more tender? Well, it's actually this tightness and tenderness that sends the pain to your head that we call migraine. We were taught also that migraine comes from blood vessels. Well, the migraine that you have does not come from your head. It does not come from your blood vessels. And then we're also taught that it can come from nerves. Well, the nerve that goes and attaches or comes out of your skull at the back of your head, where the little bump is and the muscles attach, that's the occipital nerve, and a lot of times you might get diagnosed with occipital neuralgia, like that nerve was causing the headache. And the doctor might take a needle and put the needle in to that very area and put in some Novocaine or lidocaine and some cortisone, and lo and behold, that might help many of these headaches get better for quite some time, at least a day or so, and that makes the neurologist think he's right, and that's an occipital neuralgia. But it really doesn't prove the point. Go back to what we said just a little bit ago about, have you noticed that there's places that in your muscles that are really tender when you have the headache and when you have the pain? Have you noticed that that muscle that goes across your upper shoulders is really tight, and if you squeeze on it, it's tender? Well, the headache comes from the injuries to the strings and cords of fascia that hold you together and go through your muscles, your upper shoulders, your upper back. It actually starts, most headaches, with the muscle over your shoulder blades, and then your upper traps, and then the back of your neck, and then the base of your skull gets tender. And some people, their jaw muscles are also involved. Not only the muscles outside that we might call the masseter, but the muscles inside that we call pterygoids. Any of these muscle structures in your head and neck can send pain to your head and neck that then becomes tension headache, cluster headache, migraine headache, and they're really not any different than that, except how you manifest them and what the subtle differences are between one or another that you would describe as symptoms. The cause, however, is mostly the strings that are tight in your head, neck, and jaw muscles and upper back. So what do you do about it? You have to loosen these muscles in your neck and shoulders and upper back. You have to unkink the strings where they're knotted and kinked together, and then you have to get them to stretch out to their normal and healthy resting length, so that they are no longer sending the signals of discomfort and pain that you interpret as headache. So if you look at the book my book, Winner's Guide to Pain Relief, there's a set of exercises and stretches for headaches that include how do you use a rubber ball to massage the muscles in your shoulder blades, upper back, and upper shoulders, and even in your neck that are kinked and causing this pain. And as you massage them, they get looser, they get softer, and then you find that this headache pain, however you interpreted it, reduces and goes away, and it will be less. And how long will that last? It lasts until these muscles tighten back up. And as they tighten back up, you end up with more and more of the discomfort once it hits you. Well, what glues these muscles together when they get kinked and they get injured, what glues them together is often the inflammation that we get from our food. And inflammation is not what we were taught. We were designed to have inflammation in our body for repair and for defense. If we have an inflammatory reaction that's causing pain, we have a repair deficit, and we have more going on than we were able to handle, both by our resources and by the degree of injury. Well, most of that extra inflammation that gets in our way comes from bread flour, sugar, potatoes, dairy, fruit juice, artificial sweeteners. So if you're having migraine headaches, what makes this day have a migraine? Could be the tightness in your shoulders, but underneath it could also be what you eat. So we coach people on how to change what they eat so that they can get rid of that inflammatory pain. And when you go to do that and you say, well, I mostly have that, if you really want to make the headache go away and you really want to be pain-free, there's almost no such thing as partial credit. So changes for many people have to be absolute, because the trigger is a really tiny amount of the substance. Just think, what sets off the immune system in the person who's really allergic to bees? Do they have to get a lot of stings, or just one teeny tiny one and they get into trouble? So sometimes these foods will make pain for a week, sometimes they'll make pain for 3 or 4 weeks. So the piece that you ate that tightened your fascia, that made the headache go over the top, could be something you had 2 weeks ago that's still in your body, affecting the fascia that you tightened when you carried your book bag around for too many hours today.
Well, thank you. I've learned so much today. I had no idea what was behind the headaches, and even though I've been a practitioner for 30 years, you've taught me a lot in this short interview.
You know, there's so much misconceptions about pain. Pain is not what we were taught. How to get out of pain is not what most of us do. What we were taught in medical school is roughly 10% effective for the pain that people have in their bodies. Otherwise, we wouldn't have so many people still in chronic pain, and so many people who don't admit to chronic pain treat it with over-the-counter remedies. What we're teaching, and this different model for understanding how pain even happens in the body, is better than 90% effective in most people with chronic pain, no matter how many years you've had it. And that paradigm change and paradigm shift really needs to get to people who can do so much to help themselves. And there is no reason you need to be in pain as you get older. There is so much you can do so that the injuries of your lifetime that you carry around in your fascia that make your strings tight, glue together, and kink, those injuries from a lifetime can many times be reversed, and pain of a lifetime can often be made to get much, much better.
Well, I have to say I'm going to buy your book because it's been fascinating. Pain is not what we're taught. It's not what we think it is. And most of all, it can go away. For more information, you can check out www.blatmanhealthandwellness.com, where you can learn a lot for self-help and get information about Dr. Blatman's Saturday morning talk via Zoom and private sessions. You can also purchase his book, Winner's Guide to Pain Relief, and the rubber ball that goes with it. Great for you to do it yourselfer who wants to get their fascia in better shape and get out of pain. When traveling is allowed, which hopefully be soon, he has the office in New York City and can also see him in Seattle. His main office is in Cincinnati, Ohio, and his telephone number is 844-282-8900. My name is Valerie Austin, and I'd like to hear from you myself. And if you want to find me on my Facebook, it's under Valerie Austin, HYP, or my book is Self-Hypnosis, The Easy Way. And hopefully I'll hear from you. And again, thank you, Dr. Blatman. It's been fascinating.
Thank you so much, Valerie.